Welcome, this is Glendin ThePackRat. We're in Space Engineers, Season 2, Episode 30. And, yeah, I found some really cool things out. This is still the hover base that I'm standing on. What I had to do, and I guess they rebalanced the game again without me knowing about it, is I put an extra 6 atmospheric thrusters on each side, and it still doesn't hover. I put a bunch of thrusters on each side, and it still doesn't hover. So yeah, we're doing things a little different. Actually, let me show you something new I found. I found a blueprint in the wreckage that lets me do something completely different. If I hit the right button, it will work better. Now, I found something, on a side note, it's a mod I found on the Steam Workshop. It's called Snowbot, S-N-O-Bot, MK2. It's created by SnowZ, and it is beautiful. Now, you see what it looks like there, right? Hold on, let me turn on the light. This thing here allows you to go into cryogenic storage and switch over to a bot. Now, come on, don't give me shit now. What? Come on. There we are. And I am now. Take off the helmet. It's no longer needed. It doesn't breathe oxygen. And I am now Snowbot. This has more. I'm basically in cryogenic storage, piloting it with my mind. And this little critter needs no oxygen, so it carries twice or even 3 times more hydrogen. It's a little heavier to move around. It's a little faster to move around. It carries a little bit more energy. And yeah, this is my new way. This is going to open up a whole new frontier for me. Because working in space will no longer get you killed, although the bot can be damaged to the point where you need to build a new one. It can pilot ships, all kinds of things. And there you are in a new persona. It is a beautifully done mod. And I'm really enjoying this. It's completely different. You need no oxygen. You never run out. Although the mod I have that basically gives me a warning on if my oxygen runs out. Freaks out a little bit about this, but that's okay. I have a workshop I put in. Also, I did some work between. Put some more gyros, thinking maybe that would help with the problem of not hovering. And no. So, I also put in I moved it around and put in a second teleporter going up to the ship, the Dark Star. So I put a few more gyros in the back. But other than that, it's the same. So I've done a little different things here. Let's just go to the outside view. I took off, after I put the thrusters on and found out the thrusters don't work either, I took off the back drills, which had a lot of material to them, and was able to build the back to resemble the front, sort of. I put a few more cutters on the front, and there we go. I should have spaced them out a little more and put some lights in there, but I didn't. So now this little thing, this big hover base, what do you mean a little thing? can now move forward at little jumps. It can move forward at little skips, little hops, and come resting back down on the cutters. And if I ever have things on the ground, it'll pick it right up via the cutters. So basically a little thrust, a little forward motion, and it cuts up what's in front of it. So I'm going to go and finish cutting this base, and then we are going to go, and we can see off in the distance, if you look in the upper left hand corner of the screen, the dropship I came down in is still defending us, and it's got a lot of debris on the ground that I can now teleport up to the Dark Star. I find that just amazing. So, yeah, they must have been doing some rebalancing, so the hover ship doesn't exactly hover anymore. It's more of a hop and sit ship. But it works. It works really well. If anybody would like me to post a copy of this ship, please leave a comment, and maybe I can do so. But right now, I'm going to continue eating the rest of this base. It doesn't hop sideways very well, but it can. It has a lot of thrust going up now. I still want to build a little bit of thrust going back down, a little thrust forward and back, well, directional thrusts, because I want to take it and have it go into orbit eventually. When it's done on the planet, we're going to take it up into orbit, and we're going to take every piece apart and use those parts for the Dark Star as well. So a little jump forward. You hold the button down forward, little jump forward, and it moves just a bit, just enough to cut up the next part, anything in its way. And actually, it seems to be working better now because you can't miss anything on the ground. It just sucks it all up. It's like a vacuum cleaner now. But it does not move forward unless you hop it just a bit, which I guess is good. You just hold down the forward button, and it hops just a bit. It even pulls things up out of the ground. And, yeah, it's going to wind up taking out everything. Now, on a side note, you are still able to hold extra hydrogen bottles in the remote, along with your normal whatever you want in its inventory. If you were to die in this, you do not get your inventory back. You'd have to make more. You'd have to make more, whatever you lost. But other than that, you respawn either as yourself if you choose to respawn into the normal med bay, or if you choose to respawn again in the MK2 workshop, you come out as another remote. So it's sort of endless. You can now work in space without the need for oxygen. The hydrogen is like doubled or tripled. I guess it's easier working in space than it is in planetary gravity. So this will be something I will be using once I get back in orbit. We're going to finish cutting up this base. We're going to go cut up the dropship, and then we're going to go over and get the headquarters, hopefully. And then we're going to try to take this ship into orbit and meet it up with the Dark Star. This has got a lot of cargo. A lot of cargo being sent up. All I have to do is hit the button, and it's up there. I turned it to this. It's off right now. I turn it on for a few minutes, and it just empties the ship and sends it up. So I know in the Dark Star, not only do I have the original tank it's being sent to, but I have like, what, 6 others of the extra large, dense tanks. But yeah, this will vacuum up everything in tiny little hops. It moves forward. I thought about putting wheels on it, but I really want to be able to pick up everything. And wheels wouldn't do that. And it does fly pretty good. I mean, you can get it to hover by just, tapping the button as it starts coming down. And it'll still move fairly quickly up or down. You don't want to hit it down too quickly, though. Might do some damage that you don't want to do. I mean, it's got a lot of thrust now. I put a whole bunch of thrusters on it. You see the thrusters underneath of it? But it still does not have enough thrust to hover. And yes, the inertia dampeners are on. The inertia dampeners do not seem to stop it from descending. There must be something new that they put in. And it completely mucked up my hover base. I will eventually put a drill hanging off the back, so as this moves along, it can, I'll put a large extension going straight out back, and then maybe a T shape, and rebuild the drills, so that as I move along, the big DK drills, as I move along, it will go ahead and drill up everything that's behind me, which means I can't ever back up. I mean, unless I want to fly somewhere. But and it's just going ahead and cutting up everything. Let me get another. I want to get swinging around to another vantage point, but it's sticking. There it is. I mean, it moves pretty easy. I mean, it's not, it's very heavy. It's not the 42 million it was before, the 47 million. I still don't understand why that happens. That's my other ship shooting it from way out there. It'll fall back on the cutters if my ship doesn't get it first. It's almost acting like it's in the moon, on the moon, with respect to gravity. But yeah, I've got a lot more thrusters on this thing, so I'm hoping I can achieve orbit with those thrusters. I still want to put at least one back and forward, one side to side. Well, I got side to side. So I need one. I need a couple up and a couple front and back, and I think I'll fit them on the sides. Maybe on the top, just on the that angled portion next to the. I wish it would stop that. Next to the solar cells. But yeah, I'm just going to keep eating this base. Little hop forward. And as soon as you touch down, it stops moving forward. And it eats the rest of it. Like I say, if you turn that on, it sends it up to the Dark Star. So this base is going to be pretty cool. I mean, pretty cool in taking anything off the planet. Now, I'm not sure if I could build this in space and land it. I might have to test that out to see if it's landable, if that many thrusters will stop it from impacting as it comes down. It does seem to be a lot of thrusters. And it does move pretty quick when you want to move it forward or back. It's still a little touchy side to side. You have to make sure that you, when you're dealing with it, you don't tip it. Move it forward again, pick up that piece on the bottom. Yeah, this it seems to work better this way because it gets a proper horizontal position, left, right, front and back, every time it touches down. But you will need a flat surface to run it. Which is okay. I sort of like it. It's got a lot of thrust to it. It's got a lot of engines. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be when I started building it. Yeah, I could manage to put a couple of forward, back and front thruster. Maybe I'll put it near the bottom. A couple of thrusters facing each direction, one or two up, and it will be able to move around space. It's still shooting the cyber dog. See, that's the problem. It can teeter-totter real easy. And the solar panels that I had on this were, I guess, damaged over time. I took a little bit of them away and used the parts, but yeah. Not too many parts in that those solar panels. As you would think it would have more. But I can eat this whole base this way now. It's a little slow, but it eats it and it sends it up to the Dark Star. It's quite unusual to be able to teleport the things up. Yeah, I haven't changed the back yet because I'm thinking about, like I said, putting a large arm coming out back, a T-bar, with those drills, so every time I hop forward it cuts out more stone and it processes the stone into ingots and sends it up, which I can then use in the Dark Star. The teleportation in the new robot, it's going to really revolutionize how I do things in space, because I can now build, mining ships and don't put any cargo bays in them. As they mine, they send the thing straight back to Dark Star. Now, I could put a heavier forward thrust on there, but I found it was easier to work it this way. And it just takes everything.
Ship fuel critical.
No, it isn't. It's the, you can see how many years of fuel there is in here. It's got 18 of those big modded, what do you call that, antimatter batteries that take forever to build. Yeah, it will not move forward just sitting on the cutters, but if you jump it just a little bit, it will move forward just fine. I really liked it when it hovered, but it won't no more, so, what can you do? I'm only playing it, I didn't build it. cut up the whole base. The hover base. Should have named it a better name. And we're taking everything. And yeah, this will endlessly chomp everything because it can never get full. The Dark Star up top can get full, I guess, and I can Deathgate up to that. I do have the Stargate mod in here, and if we ever find a Naquita, maybe we can build a gate inside this. And a gate up at the Dark Star, maybe we'll go back and forth, but there is no Naquita I found yet. Until we find some, we're sort of shed of luck. But oh yeah, we're going to clean this up. We're going to use it to build a couple of extra drills. That's why I'm not sending anything up right now. And I'm having thoughts about, now that we can do different things and we have teleportation and everything, I'm starting to think of a Dark Star being a little bit different in what I first envisioned. As in, one of the things is building like a small ship with filling it with welders so that it self-repairs is not a viable option. It's too much. I think I'm just going to have a welding ship on the outside that repairs it if it gets damaged. It's really not set up to be a warship, although it will have so many weapons on it you can't get near it. Maybe I could do more cutters across the front. It is doing a sufficient job. Just jumps forward a half block at a time. Yeah, I think I have too many gyros in it. It's a little too touchy. Need a light hand on the stick. And the whole base is going to be swallowed. Anyway, what I'm going to do before next episode, I'm going to go ahead and cut up and clean up everything over here. I'm going to run around, take up everything. I also want to hit that lake with a couple of drill bits and send up a ton of ice before I finish off this planet, before I move away. I will, I think next episode, be heading toward the drop ship or drop base over there and see what we can do. Have a lot more cleanup to do here. Probably a few more hours worth of work. But it's eating everything, and it's a whole lot easier than doing it by hand. The hover base I thought was going to be at an end, and I found out how to give it new life. And I'm hoping it can make it in orbit. If it can't, we'll be landing on another part of the planet. Hopefully, we won't get destroyed. But I will send up everything before then, make it as light as possible. Oh, Cyberdog. Well, yeah, anyway, I guess it's a little boring just watching me do this, but I'm slowly but surely taking this base apart and storing the material. Like I said, next episode is going to be a little more interesting, with going over to the drop base and having to deal with the other ship shooting at me, or at least sending drones out after me. And I've got to find some Naquita, and I don't think Naquita is going to be found on the planet. So I could deathgate between these two. Now that I have the bot, I could actually have a bot built on. Basically, send the bot up and have it build a workshop up there, and even run the bot from here up there, and gotta sidestep a little bit. I still have to jump to do that. Yeah, those cutters on the ground just don't want to move at all. Maybe I'll start doing one episode in space and one episode down here. Yeah, I'm thinking about a slightly different configuration for the Dark Star. It will work better than what I got planned now that I know of these new changes that are going on. I like it because when it touches down, it reorients itself, so it finds level. It relevels the ship every time it touches down. So that's a little bit more helpful, because it was a little bit hairy to drive before. These little tiny hops forward or sideways seem to be much easier to deal with than just straight hover. Because, yes, off camera once I flipped the ship, and it wasn't too hard to do either. Okay, it looks like we're at the limit here, and thank you for coming today and on the journey with me. And I'm going to continue to eat this until it's gone. And please leave a like if you like what I'm doing. Leave a comment if you feel like it. Please subscribe to the channel. I can use your help growing it. And I will see you next episode.